So if you've gone to watch any live band recently, you're not going to be surprised with what I'm about to say. I feel like the days of the big guitar amp head are kind of numbered. Because whenever you go and see a show now, most guitar players are typically using some kind of digital solution. And obviously there are some very compelling reasons for doing so on tour these days. But also we're seeing even the traditional gear manufacturers shifting their attention to more smaller format variations of their classic designs. And this has so many benefits, but are there any compromises? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out by checking out this thing from Orange. This is part of their Baby series, and this is a portable gig-ready amp. This is the Orange TUBEBUDDY. So contrary to the size on this thing, the TUBEBUDDY is actually a 100 watt 2-channel guitar head. And this is from Orange's Baby series. So there's 3 amps in the series. You've got the TUBEBUDDY, you've got the Dual Baby, and the Gain Baby. This one has a clean channel and a kind of low to medium gain crunch. If you're someone who needs a bit more gain, then the Dual Baby or the Gain Baby will be more suitable for your needs. But for me, the TUBEBUDDY was absolutely perfect because when I tour, I mostly use a clean amp with a pedal board in front of it, with the occasional need for a little bit of crunch from the amp as well. Now, the cool thing about the Baby series is that they're super lightweight and super portable. I could literally just shove this in my backpack and take it anywhere with me, and there is my amp. I can run into whatever cab I want, and I'm ready to go. Now, we are living in an era of downsized gear, and as you can see from my gear collection in this shot alone, I actually only own one full-size head, which is that Marshall back there. Everything else is kind of like a scaled-back version. And we are seeing more and more brands go down this road. And, you know, as someone who spent the best part of the last 20 years playing regular gigs, I'm here for this because I'm very tired of carrying 35 kilogram amps up and down flights of stairs. I really enjoy the fact that I can now get my same sounds and same volume from something that weighs half of some of the bigger pieces of gear. So I think this is a really cool move, but I know this is definitely something that moves us away from the iconic look of someone with a huge wall of stacks behind them on stage. A stack of these doesn't necessarily look as cool, but these days it's so much cheaper and so much more affordable to ship things like this on tour as well. The cost of touring, van hire and everything else that goes with being a gigging musician is going through the roof. So the less we can take or the more we can scale that back, the more that benefits us. So in this video, we're gonna be checking out the TUBEBUDDY and seeing what this thing can offer. In the top corner of this video, you will see a link to another video I made at 42 Gear Street with Colin Scott from The Science of Loud, where we took all 3 of the Baby series amps and we put them through their paces through a very loud guitar cabinet. So check that out if you want a full overview of all of the amps in the range. So I want to say a big thank you to my friends over at Orange for loaning this thing to me for a while, letting me get acquainted with it, and for sponsoring this video today. I've been having a lot of fun with this amp, and there's so many great sounds in it, even though it's so small and it's a solid state amp that's super simple to get started with. This thing can really pack a punch. And quite honestly, I've kind of just felt like I was playing any other Orange amp. There was no point of playing this amp where I felt like I was playing some kind of scaled back solid state thing. It literally just felt like an Orange amp to me, which I think is one of the biggest testaments you can give these guys, because when it comes to analog ideas and analog amps, Orange are definitely a company that know what they want and know what their customers want. So they're not going to be selling you something that's jam-packed full of digital nonsense that you don't need. This, even though it is solid state, is absolutely true to what you expect from the brand. So on the front panel of the TUBEBUDDY, we have a bunch of things to dial in. This side is the clean channel. This control here is a built-in VCA compressor, which is very cool. And we've got a little LED light here to let you know when it's compressing. This is super useful for a clean channel because you can get that spongy or tight kind of attack from the clean channel, which really does bring it alive. I like the clean channel, but the compressor adds an entire other dimension to that channel. This is the volume for the clean channel, and then down here you've got a bass and treble control for the clean channel. Over on the drive channel, we've got a bit more going on. There's plenty more tweakability here. So on the top row, we've got gain, volume, FS volume, which is a separate master volume that you can assign to a foot switch, which we'll talk about later, and then a presence control. And then along the bottom, then we've got a 3-band EQ. And then on the rear of the unit, we've got an effects loop here, which is very useful if you're running the drive channel of the amp and you want to put things like reverbs and delays in the loop after the preamp, always handy. We've got 2 outputs here for foot switches. One of them is for the foot switchable volume that I mentioned, and one of them is for the channel switch. So here on the front again, we have the volume and FS volume on the drive channel. So the volume is the actual volume that you're setting the amp to. But the FS volume is a switchable second master volume. So what you can do is you can use that to add a bit of a boost. So you can technically have like a volume boost with the additional foot switch as well. So that second master volume is very useful for that kind of thing. There's an XLR balanced output here. This is useful for sending the sound of the amp to a mixing desk or an interface. If you want to record it without a cab sim and then add your own IRs later on, you can do that. And then you have your 2 speaker jacks here to connect your speakers. So spec-wise, that's kind of it. That is everything the TUBEBUDDY has to offer in full. So I'm going to plug this thing in now so we can hear some of the sounds. So gear-wise, I'm using this Schecter Guitars 10th anniversary Nick Johnston model. I've got an overdrive pedal in front of the TUBEBUDDY, which is the Thorn Soundlab Silver Spurs. I'll be using that later on in the video. And the TUBEBUDDY is currently going through the 2 Notes Torpedo Captor X, which is running an emulation of an Orange speaker cabinet as well. So we're going to start with the clean channel. Now I'm just going to start by putting everything at 12 o'clock. So the compressor, the volume, and the bass and treble both at 12. So straight away, that's a pretty good clean sound. It's a very typically Orange clean sound. It's got that little bit of chime, but it's very kind of mid-rangey and warm. I always like the sound of like an S-type guitar into an Orange clean. The VCA compressor is already working, especially on that bridge pickup, because you can hear the compression. And as I play, you can just see that light flickering, especially when I really dig in. Now I'm just gonna back the compressor off a bit and bring the volume up a touch, just so you get that sound with a bit less compression. If you bring the compression all the way down, it drastically cuts the volume. Now, I actually think the compression really brings this alive. So where I really like this is when you get the compression up about 3/4 of the way. So that's a clean sound I really like. It's got that nice kind of sponginess to it. I think that compressor does a great job. Now, I actually don't really feel the need to move the EQ too much even from that point. I actually quite like the way this sounds with the EQ straight up at midnight. But what you can do is if you really want to get spiky with this, you can give that treble a boost. And it's got a real nice cut for it for funky playing. And love the snap on that. The low end is pretty tight anyway, but obviously if you need a bit more low, you can bring that in. That's great if you want to play some kind of bluesy stuff. You can also get a little bit of crunch from this just by cranking it. So you can boost that as well and get some pretty nice sounds from it. Again, like I said, I kind of just prefer it with everything just kind of backed off a bit. I do like it with a little bit of a treble boost as well. That's quite a nice sound. Works great if you're playing in like the in-between positions as well for something really chimey. So there's a ton of really great sounds in this thing. Now we're going to move over to the drive channel. And I'm just going to make sure everything is at midnight. Flip that switch, and here's how it sounds on the overdrive channel with everything at 12 o'clock. So that's not a super high gain sound, but the gain is only on halfway. Now what this amp doesn't do is it doesn't do that kind of fuzzy, sludgy 70s orange thing. You definitely have to look at the Gain Baby or the Dual Baby if that's the level of gain you're after. With this one, this is as much gain as you're gonna get. Which, you know, for me and most kind of, you know, if you're playing classic rock, you're playing blues, it's kind of all you're gonna need. You could always give it a bit of a boost in the front end if you want it. The overdrive channel has a 3-band EQ, so obviously it's a little bit more flexible, and we've also got the additional presence control up here. The FS volume I'm not going to be using in this video because I don't have the foot switch, but it's the same as the master volume. And obviously you can push it a bit more if you crank the master volume as well. So that'll get you some pretty thick rock sounds. And then obviously you've got that 3-band EQ then to really fine tune your sound. It's a pretty flexible EQ, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play a little bit and just move the EQ controls so you can hear the range of what they're doing. So it's a pretty flexible EQ. There's a lot of stuff going on there. One thing I've always noticed about Orange amps is that the presence control actually works. I've tried so many different amps where the presence control is super, super subtle, but with Orange, it always seems to actually do something which is very nice. My favorite settings for this would be with the EQ, kind of everything at about 6, and then the gain up at about 3/4 of the way, like this. So the other thing that I said this amp was great for is using as a clean platform with a pedal board. If you're someone like me who tours with a clean amp and a pedal board for all these sounds, this is the perfect accompaniment for that because it's a great clean platform. So I've gone back to the clean channel now, which sounds like this. I've dialed in a pretty neutral clean sound. As you can see, everything's pretty much back at 12 o'clock with a slight top end lift. And I'm going to turn on the Thorn Soundlab Silver Spurs, and this is how you can add overdrive to the clean channel this way. So I went from like a higher gain sound there into a much lower gain sound, and it handles it pretty well. You can go fully high gain and it'll still work great. But what you can also do is you can use a very low gain boost into that drive channel to give that a bit more of a kick. So if you've got your drive on about halfway like this, kind of like a crunchy thing, turn on an overdrive. And yeah, it does that thing as well. So yeah, there we go. There is the orange TUBEBUDDY 100. When I tried all three of these amps, this was the one that instantly stood out to me just because I didn't need the high gain options of the other two. But if you're a player who requires that high gain thing, the Dual Baby or the Gain Baby are absolutely outstanding for that. They've got some incredible gain sounds on offer. The Gain Baby is a combination of the overdrive channel from this amp with a higher gain orange overdrive, and then the Dual Baby is the clean channel from this with the higher gain overdrive from the Gain Baby. So that means you can kind of pick your perfect pairing there. So obviously for me, I went clean and low gain. You could go clean and high gain, or you could go low gain and high gain depending on your needs. But yeah, there's something for everyone inside that series, and they're all great amps. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of smaller format amps like this and where this side of the industry is going, because we're not really carting around these big 30 kilogram 100 watt things anymore. Everyone's getting smaller and more compact for ease of movement. So let me know what you guys think. Have any of you guys downsized your rigs for this same reason? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'd also love to hear from anyone who's tried out any of the Baby series amps themselves. Let me know what you guys think of those down below in the comments. There are some links down below in the description that you can check out if you want to check these amps out for yourself. You can do that from the description of this video. And if you want to check out mine and Colin's comparison of all three of the amps, that's in the top corner of this video as well. So please check that out because that's a very fun video. And we did use these through a cab and we did crank them pretty loud. So that was pretty fun too. While you're letting me know what you think of the sounds of this thing, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you very soon.